It's that time. The Brightside Chronicles is about to go down with Carrie and Nana. You ready for the show to begin?
Hey, let's go. Let's get it. It's almost showtime. Let's go. Let's get it. It's almost go time. Let's freaking go.
Yo, there's no time when we're live.
Okay.
Yo,
No better time than now.
yo, you can't make this up.
Third time's the charm. We got it.
Oh
We
my
got it. That's all that
God.
matters. We're good. We're in. We're
Bye,
vibing.
Yako. Runs
Yo,
the
this
show.
is
All
no,
right.
but,
So,
Well, we got to do a take two. So
yo, this is wild.
running late
This is
because
wild.
we had a beautiful conversation for 21 minutes and 56 seconds that wasn't aired live. This is the Brightside Chronicles with your hosts, Kerry Lewis and Nana Ajaman, here to brighten up your Thursdays
Thursday.
at 7 p.m. every whatever.
Every weekend.
We have an amazing lineup of people on our
Yes.
show today. We have Rachel
Absolutely.
Lee, Emmeline Reed,
Absolutely.
and Yanko, all people who are tapped into joy and ready to share their experiences about joy with you. So let's
Go ahead.
take it away. No, you can start.
Well, hi guys. No. Basically, we're just talking about things that obviously bring us a sense of joy, and we've had a great conversation, and we're still going to keep that conversation going because we just love to just hear about it. And so, I mean, damn, where do I begin? Because I'm like,
You asked him what
yes, like what is it? What routines have brought you a sense of joy that you started off? So my thing was, I talked about like working out brought me a sense of joy, and I fostered that years on. Watching anime because I'm a huge anime fan, and I love like art, and I can't draw, so anime offsets that. And then obviously spending time with family and friends and people that mean a lot to me brings me that sense of joy. So I was throwing that to just the audience as well as our guest speakers and co-hosts and everything like that. So that's why I figured just throw it out there.
All right, I'm gonna just do round robin.
Mhm.
Yanko, you get to answer this question first.
well, what brings me joy is vibing with like-minded individuals and just kind of taking a notch, further and up. And most of the time, just being by myself, it's the best thing. Going within and just shutting the world off for whatever time until what must go up must come down, and I decide to come out of that and come back to reality. That's the best thing I can do to bring me
Do you
joy.
want to share real quickly for our listening audience what you mean? Because they might not understand what it is you're alluding to.
Well, basically, just being comfortable with myself. That's what I'm
Okay.
alluding to. A lot of people, most people, are uncomfortable being by themselves. They're constantly looking for company. They're looking to keep their mind occupied with something, games or whatever. But this is kind of like neglecting your own self. And when you're comfortable with yourself, um, you're really in that perfect spot when there's nothing really matters. You're just pure love and you pure joy. It's interesting. Whoever experienced it once, it doesn't want to come out of it, and you always get addicted to it. To just be in that state of bliss and joy, and nothing really matter because everything to me and my understanding comes out of our conscious mind, and everything outside it's reflecting of what we are inside.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I love that. And that's why you guys got to
Yeah.
catch Yanko on our
Ooh,
show for no
sheesh.
particular reason. And if that felt a little vague, because it was, and I do this all the time with Yanko on our show.
Sure, yeah.
Basically,
Carrie
Yanko
knows.
meditates and goes into a blissful state. And that's what he's talking about. He goes into meditation and he connects with oneness, and that he's in bliss. And so if that helps kind of make that feel more understanding for people. All right, Emmeline, you get the next one, and yeah, let's do this.
So I had to raise my hand there for a second because Yanko, you just hit on something really interesting. Personally, one thing I just realized last weekend is I'm learning how to be alone, and it's really hard for me. So it's something I'm starting to love, but it wasn't easy. So for background context for the audience, in the process of going through divorce, having a young child, dog, I am, with family at the moment, in between figuring out my next step in life. So I'm not usually alone. I'm a go person. Always have been always. Love to be moving and find the next thing. And recently, I had the opportunity to stay, at a house just by myself to get work done for a weekend. And the first night, I could not sleep. I was like, I'm alone. This is weird. I usually have the dog kicking me, or my son just jumping on my head. I'm not used to this. Like this, it was so strange. I had to put on music. I, woke up and was feeling super panicked. I didn't know what to do. The next day I was like, we're not doing this again. So I intentionally, when I finished my work, I went down to the beach. I dove into the water and then came back, sat up, did a meditation. That night, I grabbed myself some sushi and I jumped in the bathtub and I just had a nice bath, listened to some music, and I decided to do something that I had been honestly afraid of for years, that a friend recently reminded me that I should be reinvesting in. And I'm in this place where I really want to face everything I'm afraid of, right? So facing that loneliness. No one really knows this about me unless you know, but I come from 10 generations of songwriters. I've been writing music for years. And I don't really share it. I wrote a couple songs years ago and I don't really share it. So I decided to reach out to someone that I know that is a singer I've recently met and say, hey, are you looking for any songwriters? And even if not, do you mind if we connect over coffee and I maybe tap into your network? I'd like to see if I can get into songwriting and break back into something I used to do years ago. So that's something that's starting to bring me joy. And for me, it's facing those fears, finding out what they're here for, finding out what my barriers are, and then seeing the joy on the other side and working through them. So that night I slept great. I literally just after I got out of the bathtub, just danced around in my underwear for an hour by myself. And just wrote some music. And enjoyed it and had a blast. And so it's these things that I think what is bringing me joy now is just, anything that I'm afraid of, just kind of looking in the eye and say, okay, why are you here? What is the fear barrier? What is internal? Because we want to remove those fears. At the church I go to, they say, breathe in love, exhale fear. And I try to do that every single morning when I meditate. So thank you for saying that, Yako, because it started this whole answer to this question.
Yeah. I just want to jump in real quickly too. We work so well together because we love being alone and we honor each other's alone space. I think that to truly know joy, very much like what Yanko says, your favorite person has to be yourself. And so often we get lost in even prioritizing our children. And don't get me wrong, we have two
amazing daughters,
beautiful daughters, but guess what? I like myself better than them too. I'm I will take hanging out with myself over them any given day. So it is such an important point that I love that both of you drilled home, because how do you know what brings you joy and who you are outside of society's narratives, your family conditioning, and all of the jargon that we've been programmed into believing, unless you're alone, because somebody else is imprinting their beliefs the minute you're with them. So that is such a beautiful point. Thank you. All right. Did you want to add something? Okay.
I'm excited
Rachel
to hear more.
Take it away.
I'm excited to hear more.
I love the fact that we've spoken in this order, because Evelyn, that is amazing. I didn't know that you're from generations of songwriters. It actually ties in very well to what I was going to share anyway, about how making things is how I recharge my battery, but also how I pour out. Like, as somebody who's an artist and a designer, it's this weird two-way thing where I pour into people by making for other people, but then I recharge my battery by making for myself. So it's this weird thing where I used to only pour out into other people. I found myself growing up in this weird position where the moment people knew that I could make things look pretty, everyone was always asking me, "Can you make our church poster? Can you design this T-shirt? Like, we're doing this thing. Can you make this for us?" And it very quickly became my love language because I knew how much joy it brought to other people whenever I made something custom to them for them, to the point where I ended up constructing my career around that. I have an agency where I basically help translate people's vibes into something that they can see. And so I ended up doing that as my love language, but to the fault where I started over pouring. I would pour so much into other people, and then to the point where I would create until the end of the day for other people, and then I would be so tired that I would just go sleep afterwards without taking space for myself. And one of the practices that I've recently started doing is actually taking space at the end of the day after spending all day pouring into other people to do something a little bit for me and not have any rhyme or reason to it. It could be whatever I want it to be. And so I think in actual, like, very recent history, I've started to entertain the idea of actually stepping into my artist brand and building my career as a content creator. The business is fantastic and I have it, but I'm coming to realize that it's not the end destination for me. It's a stepping stone. And as an artist, the business has taught me the business skills that I need to be dangerous as an artist. Because one thing that I've come to understand is there's nothing more dangerous than an artist that knows how to make money with the skills that they have and understands the value behind their work. And it's this weird full circle moment where I'm just daring to be brave enough to say I'm gonna eventually segue into just making my art for a living. I'm in the process of starting up my own Twitch account. I'm scared to even say this publicly, but like I'm gonna start there and capture the process. Like you're catching me in the messy dreaming phase right now. So I love that we just get to share this live on the stream.
Wait a minute.
I just want people to know that like there's always going to be a little messy phase when you're starting something that you're unfamiliar with. You know what I mean? It's not in a bad way.
I think it's always messy.
Correct.
We just went on 20 minutes after we
and we thought we were on the whole time. Like
it's always messy.
But it shows that like that's a cool thing to see, to let people know that it's not always perfect. You know what I mean? Like nothing really is perfect. Like you just have to just understand that like things are gonna go a little challenging in the beginning if you're just unfamiliar or something. It's like, you know, my big example, when you're working out, you start off with lighter weights. You just don't, hey, let me just pick up 70-pound dumbbells and just like bench press these because I can do it.
Some
it's
people
not like,
do, and then I watch them get injured, and I laugh because of
that's the messy part. That's the messy part when they're doing recovery and all that good stuff. But you know what I mean? It just shows that like it's not perfect. It's not always a dream scenario or everything. But I love that you brought that up. The whole content creator, we're gonna have to chop it up a little bit. Yeah.
So there's two things I want to mention. One, selfishly join mine and Yanko's and my other show because
both of y'all.
Yeah, but two, as soon as you jumped in, you spoke to what Emmeline said in a way that in my head, I'm like, oh, she should be doing a show herself. Like that was my first thought because you did it a couple times in our conversation. And so, yeah, I hope that's confirmation that it's not when, it's not if, it's like when do you start? And just every show I've ever started, even me and Yanko were like, you want to do a show? What day? Friday? 10?
Sure. Yeah, let's start it.
We didn't have any, we didn't know what we were doing, and we just play. It's just all about play. So I love that so much. So, you know, that actually lends to a really good question. How do you incorporate what some people would deem failure into joy. Like, because for me, again, I mean, poor Emma Lynn, man. I blew her off last week to go to the beach.
We apologize.
Then she shows up at 6:30 and I'm like, oh, my bad, 6:45, right? But I could beat myself up and be like, damn. Or I could be like, well, life be life, and man, and thank God she's along for the ride. But no diss, if she wasn't, she ain't my people in the first place, right? Like, that is kind of like speaking your truth too. It's like, I always look for, can the people hang with the messy middle? And so how do you guys navigate getting egg on your face? Because I think in life we all we always do.
So I'm actually I'm making a mess right now. I realize I left stuff in the oven, so I'm gonna catch that before it burns.
Yeah, please do that. Please do that. This is the messy part. All right, Rachel, you're up first this time.
Yeah. What's funny is I used to be so afraid of making a mess. As a people pleaser and straight A student, I couldn't make a mistake was the narrative that I went under for most of my life. I was very risk averse. I was like the safest, most stable human being ever, to the point where as a kid, I was afraid of applying to jobs because emotionally, I knew that I could not emotionally handle a job saying, no, you are not good enough to meet our requirements. Emotionally, I knew I couldn't. So I didn't apply to jobs. Every job that historically I've ever held was literally handed to me on a silver platter by a friend who was like, hey, we need help at our place. You don't even just skip the resume, just show up on this day. Like, that was like me growing up. And so when I first started my business, in my mind, I was like, oh, like I stressed so much over every detail. And then I realized that I can't learn until I just do the damn thing. And that things wouldn't move forward until I had to make a mess, because the answers only come after you try all of the things that don't work. And so when I figured that out, I had to very quickly learn how to recover and see making mistakes as a good thing, because I'm like, oh, well, thank goodness I discovered that. And now I know I'm never doing that ever again. And so I've learned to reframe that. And so I get excited to try new things, because I think that my sense of self-worth and ego is no longer tied to things going right. Things don't have to go right. I'm like, things can go completely sideways, and I've learned to laugh at it and be like, ha, oh God, what a mess. Okay, let's make sure that never happens again. Let's try something else instead. And so I think detaching my sense of ego from the need to go need for things to go right, that's helped immensely. So that was a very ambiguous answer, but I
love it. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
No, I was just enjoying it.
Listen, right now my foot's doing something funky, so I can't pay attention. So Nana, this is
no, because I also remember because Emmeline was gonna say something before she went, so I wasn't sure. But go ahead, Emmeline. You can go ahead.
Did you save your food?
I did.
Is
yeah.
it okay?
So the sweet potato arrived. I'm making sweet potato and buffalo chicken wings for dinner tonight.
Well, we should go there. We
that
should
sounds
go
good.
You made one of his favorite meals. Mind you, all he eats is chicken.
Yo, relax. I eat rice. Yo.
No, I think. Okay, so I'm thinking back to the question, because I think, Rachel, like what you said is so key, because one of my mottos in life is I'd rather regret something I did than something I didn't.
Yes.
I would rather kind of go through it and say, okay, I probably should have done that. That's going to be something I didn't do, or it was embarrassing or whatever. But at the end of the day, it is that transcending ego. I do a boho beautiful meditation. I love her. That's a transcend ego meditation. I'm obsessed with her. And one of the things that, you kind of see is like, well, life is very short. So you can either live in fear of judgment of everyone around you, which I grew up in a community that was a different space. There's a lot of judgment and entitlement in the space that I grew up in. And I finally had to learn, like, forget what people think. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, when you die, do you think that, like, yeah, sure, they could come up and say like, oh, remember when she did this thing, or remember when she did that thing, or this happened. But who cares? Like, if it was in your soul that you wanted to do it while you're here on this earth and you didn't do it, like, I mean, I wouldn't want to live. I don't want to live with those feelings. Like, I want to do it all. And if I fall on my face, okay, well, I mean, I'm going to get back up. So, and so that, I loved the way that you said that. I really did, because it speaks to kind of failure is learning. You know, if you never fail, if you're too afraid, like, it's that quote, right? Like, you can't be so afraid to fail that like you don't fly. So I've definitely had a lot of failure in my small business in the first year, like, you know, forgetting, you know, certain things, or, you know, sometimes like life be lifing and I miss calls or deadlines or something, and things happen. We've all had it happen, and you're like, what got in my way? What are did I not time block this appropriately? Did I not plan this thoroughly? Did I not reach out to resources because did I not know what I needed yet? Did I overpromise? Did I underlook? Like, what? How did this happen? And it's asking those questions and not being afraid to ask those questions, where, you know, failure is part of life. If you don't fail, we would never learn anything at all. So yeah.
And I want to add to that, asking the questions from a place of curiosity rather than judgment is the one caveat I would add, because when you're curious, you can have the lens that Rachel has, and oh damn, but if you're judging yourself, well, then we tend to tear ourselves down. So for the listening audience, I mean, both Rachel and Emmeline have beautiful tips for you to lean into around joy. And just remembering that, you know, the only person who can give you grace is yourself. So yeah, I love that. All right, Yanko, it's your turn. And since I can't change the screen right now, can you do that?
Sure.
He has all
Oh, that's so cool.
There we go.
Sorry.
I can help move things around. Yeah. So my understanding now is that there doesn't have to be an ego involved, because everything is perfect the way it is. The ego is the one that names things and likes to categorize things and call things good or bad, or, you know, right or wrong or whatever. If you're just being in the moment, there isn't anything. You don't have to do any kind of mental gymnastics to figure what went wrong or what went good, or how can I do anything better, because you don't exist in the first place. You're just something you created. Because think about it, you come into this world, you don't have a name, your parents give you a name, they say you're boy or girl, you're this and that, then everything else starts to happen, and then you create this persona. And then the other thing is that everyone has their own lens, everyone sees you differently, like in depends on what kind of role you're playing and what kind of character you're playing in life. Because, like, if you're driving the car, you're the driver of the car. If you're cooking food, you could be the cook. If you're doing something else, songwriting, yeah, that's that too. You know, whatever you're doing, and we tend to claim those things and say I'm this and I'm that and the other thing, and then the reality of things is that you're just being. That's it. Like, you're existing, things are happening. And if you just relax, you can just enjoy the show.
See, you be dropping gems. I'm just saying. You just might drop boys.
Yo, I'm really trying to add a comment, but I don't know that I can. Okay, I'm gonna attempt to.
Go ahead.
Nope.
You got this.
I can't.
Okay.
My toe doesn't like me right now. Well, it does,
but
it's really bad.
Well, but what I was going to say
Yaku
is,
knows what I'm going through. He's the only one. But
it's all good. You got this.
So, but for the listening audience, what brings me joy is to be in the present moment. That's what I was going to say. Something that I really relate deeply to, Rachel, is you said that at the end of the day, you fill your cup, but you don't have a specific way of doing that. One day I could be dancing and listening to music. Another day I could get lost in the woods. Like, I went on a hike into the mountains Saturday just because I wanted to. It's really not, I think about these words often. Wisdom is not planning for the future, but allowing the present to just unfold. And I really work to do that. And so the joy for me is just letting things be, even if I am in discomfort and I have a show that starts late, it just is what it is. And without that judgment, it ends up being an enjoyable experience, and one that wouldn't unfold as seamlessly, in my opinion, if I didn't go with the flow.
Ooh, mic drop. But what I was gonna say is like, so something that brought me joy. I mean, this week was really okay. So some of y'all actually know like what I do for work. So I actually work at a dealership. I help people buy cars, right? So my job is to educate customers, let them figure out what makes sense, and then picking out the vehicle. There was this woman that came in. This is like last week. She came in towards the end of the day. I'm already tired from like a busy, just running around type of day, and I'm like, sit down with her, and she's has just some life happenings with like medical bills that came up. So credit is kind of a little bit challenging. She comes in and we just basically write it up as in like, I'm just gonna try to hope for the best. And in all honesty, going into it, I was nervous because I'm like, I don't know if we can get her approved on anything. And I remember telling Carrie, I was like, babe, today was rough, but like, you know what? I don't know if we're gonna get her approved. Literally, my team leader, shout out to Yahira, by the way, my team leader who worked effortlessly, got her approved on a vehicle that she didn't even think she was gonna even get approved on. And like the lady was so grateful because when she first came in, she was just like, I don't know how you guys are gonna help me out, but somehow, some way I need help. And it was just super, super cool because you can tell how grateful she was. She left giving us all hugs and like high fives. And I was like, dude, we just made somebody's life that much more better. You know what I mean? And she was like, I need this car for my grandkids because the car that she was in was basically falling apart. And she just wanted something that was just safe, reliable, and peace of mind. And it was just really cool to just see that story build up from like how it started with it being very, very challenging to just being like, oh my gosh, we just literally shifted the narrative of what car buying should be about when you actually help somebody out. So that's all.
That story, which one of the reasons I truly respect and admire you as a person, not just as my partner in this life, is that you have a lens of service. Like whether it's at the gym, being willing to help somebody who's never been to the gym work out and learn form, or whether it's taking an awkward teenager to a con for their first time to make sure that they get to do something they like, but they might not otherwise do because it's new for them. You really do have a heart of service. And I'm curious listening to that because I know that my love language is service. Like, how can I serve another individual? Because that just truly, I know that as I give, I receive. So it's a selfish thing too, but also I genuinely love to use my skills and gifts to honor and serve others. How do you guys incorporate service into the lens of your lives that either fill your cup with joy or, just bring you joy? All right, Rachel, you go first.
Should I go first then?
I'm going. Yeah.
Who me
Yeah,
or somebody else?
You go ahead. I'll go afterwards.
So for me now, it's more of a happening. I don't have to like do anything because if you expect everything that happens in life, you cannot not be of service because you're part of the whole and you're playing a role. You're just fitting in. Like everything else has a role in here and now. Like there isn't nothing that it's out of place. Everything it's playing a role. So either you open the door for somebody or something else happens, or even you being there and then they're servicing you. You're also doing service for them because they're learning something from you. So there is no right or wrong way of like striving to be of service. It all comes to recognizing the self in everything, and then it doesn't come as a selfish thing because everything itself, but it's more deeper, um, deeper way of like knowing or deeper knowing when you get to that point that you cannot not serve. Everything else to me, it's take you out because you're imagine something at the moment and you're someplace else thinking strategies, doing something else instead of just being in the present and enjoying the moment. Either way, it turns out to be good or bad. There's no wrong or right. It just is. And then when you're in that state, then because you're not playing any strategies or anything else that's going on, everything is joy. So you don't even have to strive for joy because you're in the joy. You're the joy. You're it.
Oh,
All right, Rachel.
okay.
That's deep. That's probably a little deeper than we usually go
Nah,
here, but I
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
Talk your stuff, please.
Yeah,
Please
I
embrace
love
it.
you. I mean, listen.
Oh no, I know you do. It's just I might be a little too weird for other people. I don't know.
Listen,
We
I'm over
embrace
here like,
Nah,
trust me.
we embrace it. Like, do you? We just enjoying it. That's all.
Hey, go ahead, Rachel.
I love this. It's funny. Service is a word that I've really I've needed to redefine my relationship with it because I grew up with severe helper syndrome. I felt like for all my life I was useless if I couldn't find a way to make myself helpful. Like in
Man.
everything, in all of my relationships, I had to somehow feel like I was contributing in some regard. I think growing up in a church all my life also influenced that heavily. I basically grew up as basically like the pastor's kid. I like served heavily in all of the ministries, and I was labeled in a certain way, and I was praised for all of my service. So whenever I hear the word service, I'm like, that triggers some little part in my brain that I'm reworking my relationship with it. And what's funny is I'll share a little bit of a story about a different way that I found joy in providing service, because in a lot of the work that I do, I design a lot of tangible assets for my clients. It's like the logo, the colors, the fonts, like something you can actually see tangibly. And I think people often focus so much on that. And for most of my life, that's what I focused on. But what I've come to realize, and this is more recently, is it's not just the tangible assets that are of service to my clients. What I've actually found and what they've shared in reflection back to me is sometimes the conversations that we have and the process of us getting to the end product is the part where they felt the most served, where we're working oftentimes on people's personal brands, and the conversations that we have involves, okay, well, there's this part of yourself that you really, really want to put out into the world, but you don't know how to show that. You don't know how to articulate that. Maybe you've tried and it came out as a mess and you're so deeply embarrassed that you're scared to try again. Like, I have those types of conversations with people, and the work that we do is basically giving them the blank check of saying, guess what? Like, you could actually be and show up as whoever you want to be and have all of that be okay. It's okay. Just tell me, like, even if it sounds crazy, like, we can work with that. And I didn't realize until recently how much of service those conversations were to my clients. They're like, Rachel, the logo was great, but the conversation we had, that was what got me unblocked. And now as a byproduct, we have this beautiful brand that I feel really good using as I put myself out there into the world. So this is kind of more of a story of me discovering maybe deeper ways that I'm serving people that I didn't even realize because I just focused on a lot of the surface level stuff. But yeah, service is a word I'm still redefining my relationship with that, and also learning that I don't have to force it. Like, I don't always have to like impose my help on people when they can just be. Like, that's something I'm learning too. So I'm excited to see what Emmeline you've got to share for this topic. But yeah, that's for me.
Thank you so much for sharing, Rachel.
Before we bring her, let's bring up some chat. We like to interact with our viewers and audience.
Wait, so let's see. Hold on. What does it say? It says ever since me. Oh, wait. Hold on. That's cool stuff. Shout out to Raphael, by the way. As y'all can obviously see what's going on over there. So shout out to Raphael for that awesome message.
Yo, I just want to say Raphael is a mind-blowingly amazing artist. Mind-blowing. And he is welcome on this show whenever he's called to, because he's exceptional. Shout out for that.
Correct. Then we got to go to Emmeline as well.
And there is like a follow-up.
I haven't found my joy yet.
But in due time.
Oh, well, come hang out with me and Nana, because you live close by and we know all about joy.
But there's more. Oh,
all right.
Go ahead, Emmeline. Go ahead.
Service for me, I think the concept of service for me is very, very simple, and it's using your skills for good. There are many years that I spent, like, for example, how I started my business. I worked in news for a while. I loved it, but I found that there were a lot of stories that weren't being told just because they weren't going to catch the headline, right? So the stories of how did they start that small business? What do they do? What's their passion? How does it help the community? What's the impact been for nonprofits? What inspired it? What have you seen? What do you wish more people knew? That's my favorite question to ask. It's like, what do you wish more people knew? Or what's one thing that, you wish you could say but haven't? And those are just kind of, this is my gift. And I feel like you have to share it, because if you look at service as, I think, kind of going back to Rachel, similar to like what you had said, like you grew up, in an environment where you had to be helpful, but if it feels forced, then it's not right. So for example, some people love volunteering in soup kitchens because it's the smile on the face, it's the warm food, it's the energy, but that's not a way to volunteer for everyone. And my show is, sharing fun ways to give back in New England. It's something that I do. So maybe you like to drink craft beer. Okay, well, you're going to do it anyways. Do it for this pups and pints thing where you can pet some dogs and have some pints and be giving back at the same time, There are a million different ways to do acts of service. You just have to find the one that really speaks to your heart. And so for me, in doing the work that I do, I do charge for my services, but one of the things that I do is every time I go to an event, I try to think, okay, is there something extra they need? Is there someone I can connect them with that, maybe, there's this one organization that it's a pilot that does flights for sick children. And I said, well, I have a nonprofit that works with children that have congenital heart defect that need transportation to Boston Hospital. Can you connect? So it's making those connections and doing that, and, making the extra donation when you go, or, maybe seeing if is there a way that I can help in this other area. So there's so many ways you can do service. It's monetarily, it can be through, physical acts. It can be through making those connections. It can be through, at the end of the day, just using your skills for good, doing what feels natural for you in a way that authentically connects you with the people that God is putting in your path naturally. So that's my take on it.
Ooh.
All right. Well, I know we're running past time. I'm happy to stay on. Whoever has to jump. But you guys are all welcome to come back anytime and stay on if you want, and join our other shows, me and Yanko too. I will say I love all of what you shared about service. I do get what Yanko's saying. He and I are on very similar journeys in our spiritual space. But I think for me, and you can attest, the greatest act of service that I bestow on the world is being myself. And I fundamentally believe that. I think that showing up unapologetically, hot mess express, happy, messy, sad, if anybody's watching, like, for any length of time, I show up and keep it real all the time. You know, whether I popped off at a kid who cut me off and almost killed my kids, but Spirit saved us, to, you know, me and him and some of the challenges that we've had in our relationship to get to where we are. The truth is, you know, there's no cookie cutter perfect life. Social media really has created this illusion, and reality TV and even the news. Like, I despise the news because we feed a fear narrative instead of a joy narrative, which is why we're here. But the reality is your superpower is yourself. Whatever it is, weird, unique, quirky. I mean, one of my sisters said to me, "Wow, one of the people you had on the show was really weird," and I was like, "I know, I love
but
it."
it was a beautiful weird.
Weird
Weird is so,
weird.
like, the word weird is just, I guess, weird in a sense, because like, what do you define as weird? Like, what is normal to you might not be normal to somebody else. So then, is that make you? But I'm just like, you know what? It's just living your authentic.
Exactly.
And but then to that point,
Exactly.
Nana's from Ghana, and he's considered unique and by some
Probably
of his
the blonde
family
hair.
members because you know, his choices, but that is his superpower. So that is truly what I how I serve is. I just show up, even doing weird things with
My nose. Weird things picking my nose. Okay, that's what we do.
weird things in my hand, and I keep it real. So go ahead.
You guys are fun.
Nah. I mean, in all honesty, I was just gonna say, like, I love to, like, I'm gonna piggyback off of what Carrie was just saying, is just like being myself. You know what I mean? Like, I could be the most sporadic person, like, and I just really just live in the moment. Like, we went to Hampton last week, and I looked at Babe. I was like, "What should we like? What do I wear for Hampton Beach?" Like, and she's like, "Do whatever you want." And I was like, "Yo, it'd be funny as shit if I just like dressed up as Mickey Mouse at a beach." Makes no sense whatsoever. And she was thinking about that when I said it, and I was like, "Yo, that's cool stuff." Like, the synchronicity was just on point, and I was like, that would bring joy and happiness to people's faces. And I had no sense of like shame of like, why is this girl man in a Mickey Mouse outfit? And then to make it even more funnier, I walk around and we run into like people that I just know off the rip, and I'm like, "Yo, what's going on, guys?" And they're just like, "This is on a." I'm like, "This is a hilarious moment right now." But like, it was cool to see kids, you know, getting excited about the joy. Like, "Mom, what is that? Like, what? Why is he dressed up like that?" And then the parents is just like, "I don't know. Like, you just want to just dress up." I'm like, "Don't worry about it. I'm just bringing smiles." But like, that's the whole being authentic to yourself, is when you get to that point, like, you know, things just don't even phase you anymore, because you're just like, you know who you are as a person, you know.
Yeah,
But that's my take.
I love that.
Yeah. No, you get.
Listen,
I don't think you can be I don't think you can be anybody else. It's harder to be somebody
yeah, but
else
I
than
think
yourself. It takes more effort and energy.
well, I mean, there's two things that I would touch upon. One, we're conditioned, right? And then two, to what you alluded to earlier, Yanko and Emmeline, and being alone with yourself. Like, how do you know what your dislikes and your likes? And also, they change over time, you know? I mean, I liked vanilla men and now I like black.
I'm done here.
I
So good.
That should be stand-up comic.
Stop, bro.
Or a rapper. Although Yanko, Nana doesn't like my bars. So I do it to him all the time too. Whatever. Anyway.
Keep writing. Keep writing.
Listen. All right. So each one of you, I'd love for you to leave the listening audience with a few parting words on joy. And again, please come back and come hang out with me and Nana, because this has been a gift to our hearts and souls, for sure. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to say Emmeline first, because she has sweet potatoes and buffalo chicken wings for her to get
Save yourself, please.
So my parting word of joy is it's a motto I live by, and it's be who you are, not who the world wants you to be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of outside pressures. There's a lot of societal expectations. There's a lot of right way and wrong ways to do things. But, again, it's being true to your authentic self. So be who you are, not who the world wants you to be. And that's my personal path to happiness and joy that I hope that everyone else is able to find within themselves just by being true to who you are.
I love that so much. Thank you
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
All right, Yanko. And Emmeline, please, I will send you links to our other shows. So, if you're ever inspired, Yanko's in charge of that one. So we actually show up on time. I'm just saying.
It's all good. It's all good, guys. Yanko, we'll talk. I'm definitely coming back. I'm gonna jump in and go get those. But
yeah, go take care. Thank you.
Rachel, Yanko, nice to meet you. Nana, nice to meet you.
Bye. You too.
Nice to meet you. Bye.
All right. What are your words?
My parting words are: find who you are and find out who you really are. That's all I have.
Okay. All right.
Nothing else. That'll take you really, really deep.
It will. And then it will take you into really weird yogic positions that you can't help but get into. And then you're like, what is going on with my life right now? But I like it and I don't at the same time. Anyway, go ahead.
So good. I like to keep it simple too. I feel like in the past I way overthought this. I've simplified it to the point of, if it makes you happy, that's the right answer, and just do it. It doesn't matter anything else. That is the one thing that I'm using to steer everything. And also listen to your gut, because if you start overthinking it, your gut does not lie. And so if you get that feeling in your stomach that says no, whatever it is, don't do it. If it says yes, do it. And life becomes so simple. And I'm learning to run my business using that now. And it's made my life so much easier. So if it makes you happy, do it.
I love that so much.
Yeah,
right,
that's really good.
I mean, so to play off the words of Pikachu, be electrifying, as in make a presence when you enter a room and shake up the room the best you can, as well as shock the world with your gifts, talents, and your kindness. That's just my take on it. So, Pika.
That's so good.
I love it.
You're wild. I love it.
Knowledge bomb.
For me, what is my parting words? I mean, just be spontaneous. That's the thing is, I didn't think, I never think about what I'm going to say. I just allow it to come in, and what comes out of my mouth is highly inappropriate often and totally outrageous. And yet I truly enjoy myself. So I want that for everybody. Until next time, guys, thanks for staying late on this episode of the Brightside Chronicles, where we started late and ended late and
had a great time.
It did. If you guys want content, if you want to join the conversation, you want to join the show, please reach out to Nana or myself. And we will have the links to all of our guests if you want to connect with them and learn more about them. We will both be looking on Stitch, Twitch, whatever it is.
Twitch.
Twitch.
Stitch is Lilo and Stitch.
Listen, Rachel and